Hello, friends, compatriots, YouTubers, bottom feeders, shellfish. Haha. Enemies of the state. I am a useful idiot, and I want to talk about Eric Holder. Boy, where do I begin with this guy? It's hardly a Department of Justice. He's basically been running interference for Obama and all his thugs and the Obama administration. Should have been fired a long time ago for his involvement in Fast and Furious. For those of you who don't know what Fast and Furious is, I encourage you to look it up. U.S. government involved in selling a large amount of arms to Mexican drug cartels, which of course has ended up in a lot of deaths, including Americans. So I encourage everyone to look that up. But here's a guy who has done nothing to address fraud on an epic scale throughout the mortgage industry. No one's been brought to answer for all the fraud and corruption that led to the financial collapse of 2008. He's spent a lot of time blocking subpoenas, which is something I guess the Attorney General should do for a sitting president. And he's overlooked a vast array of pay and walkaways. All of corporate America has been involved in repetitive criminal activity, and they get a small tax put on them occasionally by Eric Holder in the Justice Department, where they pay a fraction of the amount that they ripped off from somebody else or got through some sort of corruption or criminal activity, and they pay a small fee, and then they walk away, and then they go do it again. So Eric Holder's probably prevailed over one of the most failed Department of Justices in American history, right up there with Gonzalez and Bush. So we've got these two schleps back to back. But the whole reason I want to bring up Eric Holder at this point is because he had the gall to, in a recent speech at Columbia University, to assert that the Obama administration has a record of success fighting financial fraud that is nothing less than historic. Are you fucking kidding me? I'll tell you what. I will assert that the Obama administration and the Eric Holder Department of Justice, this record of ignorance and failure to fight financial fraud has been nothing less than historic. He went on to say, "We found much of the conduct that led to the financial crisis was unethical and irresponsible, but we have also discovered that some of this behavior, while morally reprehensible, may not necessarily have been criminal." That's an interesting thing for the head of our complete American legal system to say. The fraud is all around him. The fact that he cannot see it is truly astounding. He probably could just look out his window. I assume he lives in Washington, D.C. He could look out his window and find a veritable plethora of criminal activity and fraud and corruption. So for him to wander a little bit further than, say, the White House lawn to find these things would be pretty easy. And then he also brought up this guy, Preet Bharara, who is a prosecutor working for the Department of Justice, the Department of Injustice. And so he's in on this scam, as is Time magazine. This is part of the thrust to get Obama reelected. All they have to do is put this on the cover of the magazine, and people get the impression that there's actually been some action against Wall Street insiders and players who caused the financial crisis. The furthest thing from the truth. All you have to do is look and read this article, and as always, it's a bunch of small players. It's none of the real movers and shakers, the Jamie Dimons and the Ken Lewises and the people like that. The real criminals, the ones that overlook all the other criminals and the complete hierarchy of corporate and banker criminals that stretches from the top of the company down to the peons and debt slaves. So, anyway, more propaganda. Eric Holder, you're an embarrassment. You have no shame. You're a complete failure. You're a fraud. You have nothing to do with justice. You should have resigned a long time ago. And you could still resign. And I want to say personally, I'd like to walk up right up to your face and say, fuck you,